Welcome to The Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Firehouse on WRHU 88.7 FM. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today we're doing something a little bit different. So technically, I'm not at the radio station. I'm not at WRHU 88.7 FM. We're doing a Zoom interview because I wanted to get this person on. She wanted to be on, but she's not here. She's in Florida. So we said, let's do it. So without further ado, sitting with me in the Firehouse today is Christina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I cannot complain. So this is our first Zoom interview. So this is going to be interesting. You might have opened up Pandora's box because I know when I air this, there's going to be some other people like, I can be on the show now. Let's do it. But all good. So do me a favor for our audience. I read your bio, so I do know a lot about you. But for our audience that don't know, give them your, your first, your last name. Tell them what departments. And looking at your bio, you've been in a lot of departments. So we're gonna get into all of that.
Yeah.
Tell them, I guess the department you've been in the longest, I guess we can say. Any ranks that you've held and how long you've been in the fire service in total.
Okay. Hello, Christina Ovale. I was in Westbury Hose 1 for 11 years, 2012 to 2023. And then I moved on to Jericho Fire Department with Trident. That was for 8 months, 23 to 24. And then I moved on to Roslyn Highlands for 11 months, which was 24 to 25.
Okay. So what is that in whole?
Sorry.
How many, what is that? What's that, 13 years or? Did I count that right?
13 years, give or take, yeah.
Yeah, 13 years, give or take. So I know you got some stories, and we're gonna get into those stories.
Yeah.
Right? But what ranks have you held in all of those departments? Like, I got so many questions for you when it comes to different departments because I've only been in one, Christina. So to be in multiple ones, like we got a lot to talk about. But within all of those departments, what ranks did you hold?
So Westbury, I started out as a second lieutenant for the rescue squad.
Okay.
So Westbury runs with 3 fire companies. So we have Hose 1, which I was a part of, Hose 2 and Hooks. And then the rescue squad is basically like a squad that everybody can join, but you have to be a member of a company.
Okay.
So I started out there as second lieutenant, and then I moved up to captain of the rescue squad, and then I moved up to second lieutenant of Hose 1.
Okay. All right. So you got some time in there, got a couple of ranks in there. Did you hold any other ranks in the other departments, or was it really there long enough to kind of hold any ranks?
It wasn't too long enough for Jericho or Roslyn.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's start before we get into each department, right? Let's start from the beginning. What makes you say you want to be in the fire service? Like people just don't wake up and say, I want to run into a burning building. Like, is it family? Is it friends? Or did you just see it on TV? I think we had someone on and they said they saw a flyer about it and that's why they joined. So what were your reasons for wanting to do something like this, to give back to your community in this way?
So it's actually funny. My mom saw like a newspaper ad or something for
So it wasn't
volunteering at Westbury Fire Department. So she tells me, she's like, "Oh, look at this. My grandfather was FDNY. My cousin was a lieutenant in the city."
Okay.
So my mom's been around the fire department, but not too much. So she's like, "Oh, you should join." So I looked into it, and I just fell in love with it after that point.
Fell in love with it from there. But you were a little bit exposed to it. So you already knew, family members.
Like what's entailed, yeah.
Yeah, but was there anyone, because I think you said all FDNY, anyone volunteering that you know that was
I'm the first volunteer in my family.
First volunteer in your family. Look at that. Well, on the diplomas, look at that. All right. So you find out, your mom shows you that, you go down, you end up joining, you're now in. What makes you say that you want to start branching off? Because you said when you're in Westbury, there's 3 different companies, and then you said that rescue company or that squad is like a specialized company where you have to go over there. What makes you want to start branching off into doing that and then taking on these leadership roles?
I was interested in medical, so I figured I'd do my EMT. I did that in 2013, so a year after I joined. I liked it. It's more call volume that you're getting to go to.
Yeah.
So, I think I went on the bus like a couple of times and it's like, well, I'm here, I can't really do anything. So go out, get my license, and then I'm able to do something at that point and better
Yeah.
help people. So it's good because you get fire and EMS, you get more calls, you get more things to do essentially.
Yeah. Get more, because I tell you that bus in any department, it
Oh yeah.
goes. Tons of call a year. It is insane. But so let's walk through Westbury a little bit, right? Because you did a lot in Westbury. You said 11 years in Westbury, right?
Yeah.
So you did a lot there. Let's walk through that because you were kind of telling me off air about all the different things that you did in Westbury. So let's kind of start from the beginning of everything that you did in Westbury.
So the beginning, my mom came to a parade, which is funny, and she saw the racing team and she's like, "Oh, you should do that, even if you carry a bucket." Like, you know, camaraderie and it looks fun. So, I was the first female turtle. I raced for 2 years. We were back-to-back county champs.
So you were on the
Um,
racing team.
yeah.
How was that? Now I have to ask this because you just said it. You just said the first female on the racing team for Westbury. How is that? How did that work? Like just being that first female. So I know that you might have got a little bit of the machismo stuff around you at times. So how did that? How did you handle that? Did you see that? And how did you handle it?
My guys were great. I feel like felt I like placed very well with them. I was like the little sister, they would always
Okay.
watch out for me and stuff. Obviously I didn't jump off the trucks or anything. I'm not, that skilled. But I did motor pump efficiency and buckets. Efficiency, I just did the hydrant turn on. Motor pump, I did the outlet. Which it was funny, Kenny Gass's dad, Ace, every season he'd be like, "You didn't miss once." And I'd be like, "Don't say that yet. Like this season's not over."
Hey, you're gonna
But
jinx me. Don't jinx me. Don't jinx me.
I only had one miss in practice one night. So I did very well with that. In the buckets, I just carried a bucket, which was easy. So
Okay. And was that because your mom said to do it thing, or when you got in, you were already interested in that?
I had no idea what it was. My mom, like I've heard about it in the firehouse and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting, but like it's more stuff." So, but she's like, "Oh, it looks like a lot of fun." So I did it. And I'm like, "Oh, I love this. This is great."
Love it.
Especially when
Love
you win. Yeah.
it. Especially there you go. When you win, it makes it even better.
Yes.
So you're in your now, were you holding any rank during that time? Were you that lieutenant or the captain during that time
No,
of the
so
company?
I did about 5 or 6 years without going in the ranks or anything. I was in college at the time, so a lot going on. Um, I started doing that in 2020.
Okay.
So 2020, I became second lieutenant for the rescue squad, and that's when that started taking off. You know, seeing that there was a need for EMS only people because, like I said, everybody in Westbury was just fire, and then you could do
Mhm.
EMS secondary. But I was noticing the bus isn't getting out. To better help the community, I proposed a bylaw change, which went through. So the department bylaw change was that people could join just the rescue squad and be in the
And
department
just
and just
yeah,
do solely EMS, which was needed.
that's
So I
great.
started out with two. I don't know where we're at now, but I know it's still going strong, and it's a great
You're the
change that
pioneer of that over in Westbury. You kind of was
yeah.
the one that was the advocate and started and made a great job. And it was a need that you saw. Now, let me ask you a question. What made you, like, you can advocate, you can do that, but what made you want to take on a leadership role in there, right? Because you could have just been a part of the company. You didn't have to do and become lieutenant. Like, what made you want to take that leadership jump?
I just like I wanted to take a leadership position. I figured I could help out and actually make it better. And like when I really got on the inside, I saw like this department bylaw change was needed. You
Mm,
know, EMS, I don't care what department you're in, it's hemorrhaging at this point. we need people. We need to get the bus out. You know, it's not even for us. It's for the community. It's for people in need. You know, Nassau County's great. Don't get me wrong, but they can't be everywhere. So like we have to back them up. We have to help them out, and you know, there's a need for it.
That's right. So true. So true.
Good.
All right. So if you can tell me just a little bit about the whole being a chauffeur in Westbury.
Yeah.
Do you have to be an officer first to be a chauffeur, or you just can go in and start learning? How long do you have to be in the department before you become a chauffeur in Westbury?
Time wise, I
In the heart of Blue Point, New York, the Johnny Mac Foundation stands as a beacon of hope and resilience. Founded in memory of FDNY firefighter John F. McNamara, who lost his life to 9/11 related cancer, this foundation embodies his enduring motto, whatever it takes. To supporting first responders and their families, the Johnny Mac Foundation is committed to making a long-lasting impact. Join us in honoring John's legacy and making a difference. Visit at johnnymacfoundation.org to learn more and contribute.
Time-wise, I don't remember off the top of my head, but you would have to start out on the ambulances, and then you move to the engines, and there's a certain time period of like how long you need to be driving, how long you need to be pumping on the engines, all that. It took me about a year and a half to do the entire fleet, which is two ambulances, 6 engines, the aerial ladder, the tower ladder, which Bez told me, I spoke to him. He's like, make sure you tell them Long Island's largest tower ladder, 52 feet long. So I was qualified on, I think I was one of 6 qualified on that.
Wow.
And also the heavy rescue truck, 964.
Christina, you are the real deal. Let me tell you that. You are the real deal. All right. So a little bit about, so you leave Westbury and you go over to Jericho. If you could talk a little bit about that transition, right? From Westbury to Jericho, you know, leaving 11 years, you know, friends and everything, knowing their operations to now come over here. What was the biggest difference and how did you handle it?
It was good that they're both in the 9th Battalion, so it wasn't too much of a shell shock. Obviously every department does things a little differently. Otherwise I fit right in, you know, going to calls and stuff. It was basically the same thing. Same codes, same approach to everything. I mean, I feel like I was very well trained to go anywhere because Westbury is a very aggressive department. They train very well. I was the firefighter I was due to Westbury and all the training.
Westbury, due to that. So I got to ask the question: did you ever go on a call and see the Westbury guys, and you're over here in Jericho? Did you ever?
Oh yeah,
did it ever happen?
I've had a mutual aid. I saw the guys. You know, it was nice. Yeah.
with the different patches and the different everything on it, like, look at this one. We know this one. We know her. All right. So then we go from Jericho and then we go into Roslyn. How is that transition?
So Roslyn was a home run. It was about 5 minutes from my house, which was, you know, that was great. Going to calls like that, I was actually making the rig. Roslyn was a little different. It's a different battalion, different structured fire department. The 3 of them are all different. Westbury is a water district. Jericho is a board of commissioners. And then Roslyn is run by like a president. So a little different.
Okay.
You know, they're different how they're run and whatever. I mean, Roslyn was a good shop too. I mean, the 3 of them are great shops.
All right. And you were only there for 11 months though. So you were only there for 11 months. And then you left. And why did you leave there?
Moved to Florida.
Moved to Florida.
I took a job in law enforcement in Florida.
Okay, is Florida called the Sunshine State? Is that
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's the Sunshine State. So you decided to go over to Florida to the Sunshine State, and you're an officer there. So I gotta ask, like, what made you want to move and become an officer there? Did the fire department have any involvement in that, learning, just because the fire department has, the ranks and, you have all of that. Is that the reason why you felt comfortable looking into going to law enforcement there? Or why didn't you go to Florida and look to be a firefighter out there?
So I have a bachelor's in criminal justice. I never used it in New York. So, I think it was like the last snowstorm and the traffic and everything. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I like the warm weather. I want to move down. So I started looking into that. Also, when I was in Westbury, they had a like duty car. So I would live in that thing. I loved it. And, handling calls on my own and all that. I was like, I love this, So law enforcement is the same, like you're taking in calls by yourself. But I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. We'll just edit that out.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
I feel like, the fire department, it's like, oh, you're having a small emergency. I'm sorry. Like, I'm here to help, stuff like that. Whereas law enforcement, like, you could actually change the course of somebody's life where, you can get them help or push them in the right direction or, there's better tools to help somebody with law enforcement versus fire.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose that.
And you're a little bit more on the ground all the time with the different,
Yeah.
community and things like that. Got it. All right. So you know what we need to do? We could get into some stories, right? Whether it is Westbury, whether it is Jericho or Roslyn, what do you have for me, Christina? I know you got some good stories.
So I'll
So
be
what do you
basic. I'll
think?
bring up Jamaica Ash. I know everybody
Okay.
has, but nobody has told you the actual events that had happened. So we had fire school that night. We had the tower.
Okay.
So I was on the nozzle for one of the evolutions and one of the pistons or something broke or whatever. So the thing is pissing out water on me. So
Mm.
I'm soaked at that point. And then, we're done with the evolution. People start running around and they're like, oh, we got a big fire at home. I was like, what? Like a house fire? Like, because we had a couple of calls before that, like, oh, it sounds good, but then it's nothing. So I'm like, oh, this is probably nothing, whatever. We get back to Westbury and the plume of smoke. And like, we didn't know if it was on the south side or the north side of the tracks. So I ended up moving a dump truck down the block, which was interesting.
Wait,
So I
wait,
drove that.
wait, wait, wait. You gotta explain. How do you end up driving a dump truck?
We thought initially the fire was in this paper warehouse, which was on the south side of the train tracks. So we're like,
Okay.
let's get all these trucks out and see what we could see or whatever. So I'm like walking up and somebody's like, move this dump truck. And I'm like, okay, like I've never driven one of these before, but I mean, if I could drive a tower ladder, I could drive
I was about
anything.
to say,
So
if you could drive a tower
yeah.
ladder, you could drive a dump truck.
Yeah. So night one, I was there until 5 a.m. And then I was like, I gotta go to sleep. I'm done. So I think that, they kind of got it contained by like early morning, whatever the case may be. I go back at 10 a.m. We're packing hose and, we're just kind of doing things during the day. It was a Long Island invite. Like Copeg was there, like
Everybody's
just
there.
Suffolk departments, like people like you don't even think would come this way. It was weird times. So I go back to the firehouse, whatever. We're hanging out in the basement, and then we tap out with a house fire.
Mm.
Oh no, I'm sorry, backtrack. We'll edit this out. So we get called back to Jamaica Ash for a rekindle. Literally get there, park the truck. We get toned out with a working house fire. So
There we
we're
go.
we're going there,
So wait,
and
before we, I'm a detailed person. So
yeah.
where are you on the rig? What is your position on the rig?
So I'm in the back.
Okay.
We
You're in
had the driver officer. I'm in the back. Packed engine.
Okay.
We had 6 in the back, 2 in the front, obviously.
Are you,
So
so I gotta keep asking because I'm detailed. So if it's packed back there, are you looking at who's back there? Are you getting the nozzle? Are you not getting the nozzle? What's going on?
the way we figured that out was okay, who had full gear? So at that point, I was missing a hood and the other guy was missing gloves. Mine didn't fit him. So he's like, I'll give you my hood. And then we had another guy. He's like, I'll take the nozzle. I was like, I'll back you up, So we get there and we end up having the chief of Dixtails, Scott Tapino. He's my officer on the line. And heavy fire, we go in. My nozzleman got like ember or something down his jacket. got a little burn, nothing too significant. I ended up taking over. We're going through and everything. We got it out pretty quickly. During the operation, though, I was told this afterwards. Green lawn came down the block and ended up running over our 5-inch.
Oh,
But
wow.
the entire time, like, we knew we had issues with the water source or whatever, but we had water the entire time. Phenomenal engine chauffeur. I forgot who drove. I think it was Chuck. But, pretty quick, knocked it down, pack up there, back to Jamaica Ash all night. So
Oh, wow.
it was an interesting 48 hours.
But it was good. It was good. It was work.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things that you got stories forever on that.
That's what we look for. I mean, it's bad for a firefighter to say, like, oh, I like going to fires because, look at the circumstances behind it. But we just want to use our training. So
that's right. All right. Let's keep going. What other stories you got? Let's go. I know you got a bunch, Christina. So let's go. What else you got?
So we had a house fire in Old Westbury. It was near my house. So I go late at night. I want to say like maybe 10 o'clock. Langley Court or Langley Lane. I show up in my personal vehicle.
Let me just ask you a quick question. Old Westbury. So my thoughts of Old Westbury are pretty big homes, a lot of space.
Yeah.
Hydrant wise, right? Versus Uniondale, well, I can go down and there's a hydrant there, hydrant there, hydrant there. Is it like that in Old Westbury where there's hydrants pretty much everywhere, or are there some long stretches?
Oh, you're gonna stretch in Old Westbury.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
It's usually a heavy duty call with the long stretch.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you got that call. Keep going. You got that call in Old Westbury.
So I park in somebody's driveway. I have my gear. I'm walking up. They had issues opening the hydrant, so I help out with that. Continue on to the property, to the house, and I see a dog running in the front yard. So I go to try to catch him, and he jets right back in the house. And I'm like,
so wait, are people like, are the fire department already operating inside the house or no?
They were doing searches at that point and getting the line ready to go in.
And there's not a line committed yet.
Right. I mean, it was smoking, but it wasn't obviously fully involved. We didn't see any flames. If I remember correctly, it was in the walls.
Okay.
So the dog runs in, and I take one of the guys. I'm like, we got to go get this dog now. So we go. It's like a hoarding condition. We're on air. We got full gear, and we find the dog, and the dog's freaking out, biting us. Like, and I'm like, I'm good though because I got all on. I'm sorry. I shouldn't curse. I was like, I got all this stuff on, so like, can't bite me too bad. So I take him out. As I'm walking out the front door, he like kind of goes limp, and I'm like, oh, let's get some oxygen. So getting him oxygen, he's still freaking out, still biting away. And he was like a 20-pound dog. So like, it wasn't, too terrible, but if he was to bite, it was going to hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him oxygen. I'm like hanging out with him. I'm like, okay, I think he's okay. Take off my glove. 2 seconds later, bites my finger. I'm like, really?
How
so
bad?
I ended
really
up
bad? Like really bad bite?
No stitches or anything. It was a significant puncture, but I ended up going to the hospital just to get like the tetanus shot and clean out and all that. So
what? Let's back up a little bit. You pull up, you see the dog running around on the lawn. They run in the house. Right then and right there. What's going through your brain? Right then and there. Was there any like, I'm not?
I was like, I gotta save this dog.
I gotta go save this dog. I gotta get him.
No, I gotta save. I love dogs, so I was like, I can't let him go back in.
Grab somebody. Hey, we're gonna go get this dog.
Yeah, we're gonna go save the dog.
Let's go do it. All right, so keep going. You got another story for me? You got one more good story?
Oh, I have tons.
All right,
I have tons. How long do you have?
That's what I like to hear. Let's go.
Okay, my first boss job as a lieutenant. So we're all hanging out at the firehouse, and Syosset starts getting a house fire. So we're like, okay, this sounds promising. So, it gets upgraded to a Signal 10, and we get mutual aided. So I take the front seat, and I have the driver, and I'm second lieutenant for probably a week now. I was doing my due diligence, riding the front seat whenever I could, learning everything that I could, because there's really no training to be a line officer anywhere. So we're
I
going.
think
I'm
that, and I
thinking
don't
of,
want to cut you off, but I just
yeah,
want to say like that's so important, especially for all the listeners and for the like younger people to know. Like it is so true. There really is no training for that, right? You don't learn until you kind of get on those calls. So the way you train is those little automatics, those little
yeah,
calls like that. You ride the front seat, you listen to the radio. But when that fire happens, if you're it, you're it.
yeah. Well, I mean, fire
At
school
Ladder
does
Suite,
have,
they're transforming emergency services with smart, easy to use software built by first responders for first responders. Their fully integrated CAD and RMS solution are designed around real world operations because no two agencies are the same. That's why Ladder Suite is flexible, customizable, and built to fit your needs. Hosted on secure, redundant cloud services, their platform delivers reliability you can count on when it matters most. And with a dedicated support representative for every agency, they're with you from onboarding to daily operations. Ladder Suite, built for the mission. And if you head over to their Instagram, drop a comment and let them know that the Firehouse on WRHU 88.7
I
FM
mean,
sent you.
fire school does have, the academy
Mhm.
has a training intro to fire officer, which was the one from years ago that I took. They started moving into more of like a heavy, curriculum at this point, but still like there's nothing hands-on.
There's
Nobody's
no
holding
hand.
your hand. Yeah, like in the front
No.
seat saying like, oh, hey, say this on the radio or, do this or make sure you grab this and stuff like that. So we're
All the
heading over
training
to,
in the world will never get you like for that, that didactic stuff and learning that. Once that heat is on and it's there, it's totally different. So
oh
that's
yeah.
what I mean by like there's really no like solid training until you do it. The way you train is sitting in that front seat. Don't just sit in the back. Hey, I'm an officer or I'm inspiring to be an officer. Can I take in this box? It's just an automatic alarm. Can I do it so I can learn and know how to make communication? So it's great that you said that because I want the younger people that's listening to the show to know that, right? Just ask your officer. And if you have a good officer, they'll let you. Hey, go ahead, run
Oh,
the seat.
absolutely. Or even tabletop, sit down with them and say, like, run me through a call.
Yeah.
Let's say it's this. I'll tell you how, like, what to say on the radio, what tools to grab, like what to do, stuff like that. There's ways to prepare for it. Even, like you said, riding to an automatic alarm because that's a low stress situation, but you're still kind of
Yeah.
getting the high stress of lights and sirens and
Understanding.
you're
Yep.
you're
Doing
getting
your
your toes
approaches. I
wet.
don't know if you do that. We do approaches, all these things. So that all helps. But all right, let's get into it. First fire
Yeah.
as the boss.
Yeah, so we're driving to Syosset Mutual Aid, and I'm listening to the radio, and they're like firing the walls, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, okay, cool, like I'm good, I'm not like stressed or anything. We
Mhm.
pull around the block, and I see the plume of smoke you know, in the roadway, and I just think to myself, I was like, "Oh God, like this is my first job as a boss." Like I was like, "Okay," and then like immediately, I'm like, "All right, this is what I got to do. I got to get accountability tags." I split up the engine. I had half the guys go to the second level. I went down because another brand new fire lieutenant was on the rig. So I told him, I'm like, let's split up and, you take some, I'll take some, and we'll get it done. Go up to the chief. I'm like, what do you need? I got two teams. So they do their thing. We do our thing. We're in the basement, heavy fire in the ceiling. We get it out. We had a nozzle and that was it. So
Just put that out. But what? So you said you pull around that corner, you see that plume of smoke going through your mind at this moment, right? And I know you just said it like you're just like, hey, I gotta, basically, I'm the boss here. But what is
yeah.
actually like? What is going through your brain right in that moment?
Well, some profanities, but also it was, it was like, oh God, what do I do? And then it's like, I just get back in my head and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this. Let's, go back on my training, the tabletops that, I was picking people's brains and stuff like that. Even thinking of like I would watch the officer at the call that I was going to, even if I was in the back, like, okay, they did this, they did that. But not even that, and like for any job or anything that you're trained in, you
Mhm.
take things from different people and you build it to what works for you and what you think is going to be the
Right.
best route to do things. So
You'll learn as you go along. If you can explain, I know what you mean, but for listeners that don't know what you mean when you say those tabletop conversations, if you could explain what that means.
Yeah, if you're hanging out with the firehouse with like a competent or senior person, sit down with them and say like, "Hey, run me through a structure fire from when we get onto the rig. Like, what do you say on the radio? You know, what what do you need to grab before you're getting out? Tactic wise, like how do you split up the crew, things like that." Even, I used to drill with one of my lieutenants when, years ago, we would pass a house and he'd be like, "All right, how much hose length? What line are you grabbing?
Right.
What are you having people do? What positions?" My big thing when I was an officer, I'd turn around to the back because, I would notice some officers wouldn't communicate with the back, but I'd turn around and go, "Who's got what?" You know, Hopefully they would divvy up things on their own. Then they would tell me and I'd be like, "Okay, I know so and so is doing this, so and so is doing that." So I have accountability in my head before we're even parked. So
And that's a boss.
yeah,
That's what
I
a
mean
boss does.
that's the biggest thing. Like me as a boss, like I was doing things that everybody was doing. I would notice when I was younger in the fire department, some guys at drills, they would just stand there with no gear on. And, it's kind of like you're intimidated by them. But like when I was an officer, I would go on a Friday night to the training building and tell my younger members, like, "Hey, you want to do SCBA? What are you guys struggling with?" And they would tell me, like, "We love this because it's not intimidating with the entire company there. We can make mistakes and, we're not going to get made fun of or, judged or anything."
Yeah.
So that's huge.
That is
And
that.
it builds the confidence for them as well at drills and stuff. They'll do things or they'll answer the questions or stuff like that.
That is huge because like you said, it's all in good fun that we make fun of people and everything, but some people, it's not a great learning environment sometimes.
Right.
So it's those smaller settings, they're a little bit more comfortable, like you said, to make a mistake and it be okay. So I got a question for you to remind you about some stories that I was reading. Train derailment.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that comes to your head when you think that?
I was going to meet my friends or something. I wasn't even going to the firehouse. And I look at my phone and it says like train fire, train crash, and like a bunch of calls. K2M is blowing up. And I'm like, I gotta go to the firehouse. I was like,
Shout out to
this sounds
K2M. Shout out.
yes. I was like, I gotta go see what this is. So I get to the firehouse. Like nobody really knows what's going on, but I think an engine got out before me. So I'm on the second due engine and we go to the south side of the tracks. And we really had no training in trains.
Yeah.
So we don't know much about anything, but I will say there was two trains that and from what I kind of saw was a car. So we're putting out fire. I was on the line. I think I was backup or whatever.
So
And
fire on the train or coming from the car or
like
both trains
underneath the
or everything.
train.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm on the line. I think there was a Hicksville chief or somebody mutually. It wasn't my chief. And
Hmm.
I'm looking and I turn it. I'm like, "Is that a body?" He's like, "Yeah, I think there's a bunch." I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
So what actually had happened was there was a car of three men. They rear-ended somebody and they went to go beat the train. Um, I don't know if it was the eastbound or the westbound, but one of the trains hit them and then the other train took them out.
Wow.
No, it was a westbound train that hit them first, and the eastbound train took them out and ended up crashing into the platform, thankfully. I know it doesn't sound good, but if that was to continue on, it would have hit an apartment building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there was only three casualties of the men in the car, and I think the train conductor got injured a little bit, but was fine.
Mhm.
But that was one of those calls that it's like, all right, I think we need to figure out like a critical incident, debriefing or like how that works or whatever, because it was a sight.
So I always gotta ask, right? You pull up, you like you said, K2M is blowing up, your phone's is blowing up, everything's going off. That is what it is. You get there and you see it. What is going through your brain at that moment when you get there and see this?
I feel like the very serious calls that I've been to, like the DOAs and stuff like that, like everything just gets really quiet. And, you just kind of focus in on, what's going on and, kind of go into like a secondary mode of like, okay, how do I, put my training to this? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it comes second nature. I mean, I know it sounds kind of cold, but you deal with this stuff a lot and you kind of become numb to it.
Which is true. But it never hinders your job. You know what to do and you're going to do it.
Right.
All
And,
right.
we have to show up even if it's a bad call or, it's a bad site or anything like that. People are expecting us to help them.
Show up and do your job. No matter what's
Exactly.
going on there, that's what they're expecting. For you to show up and do your job. All right.
Exactly.
Got another one for you that I read in your bio. A water rescue. In Jericho, I think that said. In Jericho, water rescue.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Explain.
I was in less than a month and it was like a decent rainstorm that we had. Comes over as water rescue. I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 106, 107, like by the bridge by Miller Ridge and
Okay.
road was flooded. And Jericho, of course, has those like scuba suits. I forget what they're called. So they're like, who wants to get suited up and go? I was like, oh, I definitely want to go. This sounds fun.
I'll do it.
I get suited up like Scuba Steve. We start pulling people out of cars. We got the boat. We got a woman out. And then there was another woman that was disabled. We ended up carrying her. But everybody failed to mention to me that these things like just completely dehydrate you.
Yeah.
So like you're doing active work and like you're just depleting at that point. So like I'm going for this entire, operation. I get back to the rig and I'm like taking this off. I was like, whoa, I think I'm gonna pass out. So they're like, oh, here's Gatorade, go sit in the air conditioned rig, But it was such a weird, call, like a water rescue in, New York of all places.
To see that, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? But you was ready to go. You was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was funny because I think like a week before that, we actually did like a water rescue training. So I was like, okay, I know what's going on with this. Yeah.
I got a little bit of training. All right. So let's keep going here. What we can do right now is we can play a little game called the flashover. Okay? Have you heard of the flashover?
Yes.
Okay. So
I'm ready.
I'll ask you a couple questions. Android, Apple, you got to give me the question pretty quick. But we'll do some TV shows, we'll do some movies, and then I have a list of questions. And I'm actually going to add some questions in here for you because you were in EMS, so I can ask some of those questions as well. You're well-rounded.
Yeah.
All right. So, Christina, are you ready for the flashover?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. You're at a parade. Do you want to drive the rig or drive the chief's truck?
The rig.
Always drive the rig.
I loved driving the rigs.
Driving the rig. All right, let's keep going. Brush fire or rocking dumpster fire?
I would say dumpster fire because when I got into Westbury, one of the first serious calls I went to was a brush fire. We were there all day. It was at NYIT. I think it was over 100 acres. It wasn't a good time.
Wasn't a good time.
Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire all day long.
All day. It's not going to go anywhere. So.
All right. Basement fire or a warehouse fire? And you're in Westbury, so there's a lot of warehouses and big things. So basement fire, warehouse fire?
I've done both. I would say basement fire. It's more contained.
Okay.
I've been to Magnolia and Jamaica Ash, so warehouse kind of sounds a little scary to me.
It is. It's a lot. All right. Okay. So let's keep going. Confirmed car fire or automatic alarm with a light smoke condition?
Car fire all day.
Car fire all day?
Murphy's Law, the light smoke condition, it's going to be a burnt outlet or something. We've had
something like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes those are some things. That could be something. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's keep going. Midnight call or 5 a.m. call?
That's tough. I've been to both. Now I'm up at like 4:30 every day, so either's fine.
Oh, so either one for you, that
Yeah, either
works.
one's fine. Yeah.
All right. Summer heat, right? In gear, or winter cold in wet boots? Pick your punishment.
Oh, summer heat.
Summer heat. You rather
I've
deal with
I've been acclimated to Florida at this point. I'm
That's
good.
right. You're in the Sunshine State. You want that no matter
Yeah.
what. Just quick question out there. Are there any volunteer departments out there?
There are two nearby. I did look into it, but I spoke to a chief by me and they said they want national 1 and 2 plus national EMT or paramedic. I
Mm,
don't have national 2, so
okay. So that's
yeah,
not in the
maybe down
cards
the
right now.
road, but
Maybe down
not
the
right
road.
now.
Yeah, not right
Yeah.
now. Not in the cards right now. Okay.
Plus,
So let's
firefighting down here is a lot different than New York. Obviously they get brush fires, forest fires, which was funny when I first moved down. I moved down April, and every morning there seemed to be a forest fire. So I would take my dog out in the morning, and I'd smell the fire. I'd be like, "God's mocking me for my career choice." Like,
right there, right?
yeah.
All right. Let's keep going, okay? You are the captain or the lieutenant. It's a Sunday morning. Everybody's down at the firehouse. You have a department critique at 10 o'clock. It is now 8 o'clock. Everybody is there. Do you A, have everybody do another training from 8 to 10? Or do you have them clean the firehouse from 8 to 10?
I do like an hour-long training and then breakfast.
Hour-long training, then breakfast. Okay, that's the first time anyone ever
Yeah.
said that. That's smart. You're gonna split the time. Everyone always picks one. So you're gonna split the time. Let's do a quick training, and then let's go get something to eat, and then head over to the department critique. Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right, let's keep going. Down the hallway with who? Salty old vet or the new hungry rookie? You gotta pick. You pull up to the scene. Chief is like, "Hey, you gotta go on one of them. Which one you going? Salty old vet or the new hungry rookie?"
I would take the new hungry rookie because they're probably very young. They could hump hose, and as long as they listen to you, if you give them directions, I would prefer that.
You prefer that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because you're in, EMS, you're an emergency. I gotta ask some of these questions. All right. So,
Sure.
trauma call or medical call? Which one?
I would prefer a trauma call. I feel like everything goes a lot faster. You're using your training call. I mean, God forbid I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody, but
Mhm.
it's just more, all right, I can do this, I can do that. There's more things to do versus a medical call. It's like, all right, now I have to do an investigation and like figure out what's going on to relay to the
Mhm.
hospital. So yeah,
Makes sense. All right. Let's keep going. Cleaning the ambulance or restocking the supplies?
cleaning all day. I
You said that without a
oh
doubt. You
no.
said, cleaning. Why?
Oh, when I was captain, I was restocking like once a week. Absolutely hated it. I made like spreadsheets and stuff. I would lock the cabinets like everybody does, and make a list of all the expiration dates. Oh, I hated it. It was awful.
The worst. Okay. So
Cleaning all
cleaning
day.
all day. Cleaning and then it's
Yeah.
done and it's cleaned up. All right. You pull up to the scene. You are EMS. You pull up to the scene. On the right-hand side here, they are doing CPR on somebody. On the left-hand side, they are pretty much delivering a baby, pregnant lady about to give birth. Chief says, go to one of them. Which one you going to?
CPR.
CPR?
Less mess. Yep.
Less
No
mess.
thanks.
Less mess. So you go to CPR. You're taking over, taking over the compressions. You're like, I'm
Sending
gonna
medics to the other side. They could go help with that.
you can go
Yep.
do that. All right, let's keep going. So, since you are a leader within the fire department, I play a little game within the flashover called Suspended or Not. Okay.
Okay.
So, got a couple of questions for you, suspended or not. And that's the answer you'll give me is it's either suspended or you're not suspended. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All out fist fight, 2 members at a call, suspended or not.
I know you're not going to want to hear this, but you got to figure out who's at fault. What
Okay.
happened, investigate the situation. If somebody's throwing punches unprovoked and starting a fight, then, that person, yeah, they're getting suspended.
Getting suspended.
So,
Okay. Pull up to the firehouse. You are the lieutenant. Pull up to the firehouse. The entire front window is busted out. Two people playing Jedis with pipe poles, having a great time, bust the whole windows out. Suspended or not?
The person that did it suspended, unless it was an
You gotta
accident.
suspend them? What?
If they fell into it or something, then no. But if they're roughhousing and person A ends up breaking the window, person A is getting suspended all day.
Gotta do it. All right,
Yeah.
last question. Let's say you're at a call and you have, I don't want to say you have an argument, no one sees it. You have a little argument with one of the chauffeurs. Nothing that no one sees, nothing big, but you and him or you and her had a couple of words. Now, call is over. You're walking by the truck, by the rig, and they lay on the horn. Suspended or not?
No.
No?
That's not like an egregious thing to suspend somebody. I mean, you're gonna have disagreements with people. You're gonna, duke it out verbally, but blowing a horn, no.
Not blowing the horn. We're not getting rid of them. All right. Now let's keep going with that. Now let's get into some movies and some TV shows. If you haven't seen it, then you let me know. If you have,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Chicago Fire Rescue Me.
I've only seen Chicago Fire, so we'll go with that one.
We're gonna go with Chicago Fire. How about Chicago Fire or Third Watch?
I don't know what Third Watch is.
No.
The Chicago Fire.
Let's go Chicago Fire or 911. Have you ever saw that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay,
I would say Chicago Fire.
Still Chicago Fire. We're still going
Chicago
Fire the whole way. All right. Backdraft, Ladder 49.
Backdraft.
Backdraft. Why? Why are we going Backdraft versus Ladder 49?
It's a better movie.
Better movie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, the most important question I'm going to ask you today, which I wonder what you are going to say, because you've been in everything. You've done it all. So, most important question I'm going to ask today: engine or truck?
Oh, engine all day.
Engine all day. Let's go.
We're doing the real job.
That's right.
Truck's just finding the fire for us, and then we go in and we're the heroes. We put it out. So engine all day.
Get some truckies off with that right there. Just let you know.
Oh, that's okay.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay. That's right, engine. That's right. Put the wet stuff on the red stuff.
Yep.
Right. So, I got a couple more questions for you. One quick question: if there was something that you wanted to debunk about firefighting right now, what would that be?
I would say the biggest thing, especially on Long Island, nobody would believe that we were volunteer. That we weren't taking any salary to come and help people. I mean, my friends down here in Florida as well, they're like, wait, you did that for free? Like, you didn't get paid? I'm like, that's what we do. I run into burning buildings for free. So, that's a big thing. Also, people think like we're always going to fires, which it's not the case. Like, one day we'll be an automatic alarm or, a medical or anything like that. Like, there's more that we do. And then also the myth of cats in a tree. Which, when people ask me that, I'm like, have you ever seen a cat skeleton in a tree? Like, they'll come down when they're hungry. It's not a big deal.
It's funny because there's two people on the show that had said they actually did do something like that. And I was like, well, where? That they rescued a cat out of a tree. I'm like, but there was two people that did say they did it before. They were old timers, but they definitely said it, that they did it. All right, so let's keep going here. A couple more questions. Another question I have is, in a whole, right? Being a volunteer firefighter, how has that changed your perspective on life? Just being a firefighter, a volunteer firefighter in a whole.
It definitely gave me the tools to think quickly in high stress situations. Also me personally, my leadership positions and essentially how to deal with people, making sure everybody's safe, being accountable for other people, making sure they're doing their things. I mean, this caused me to be extremely organized, with rescue and, then not taking over, but taking over the position in Hose 1 and just trying to figure out easier ways to do things, keep track of things and, also huge your people skills, talking to people. If you're on the ambulance, going to a medical call as an EMT, it's like, okay, I could walk into somebody's house and actually talk to them and like, because I feel like kids these days are so into their like media and the cell phones and
Right.
they don't have like real life conversations. Whereas like this, like you're building a family essentially and you have people that you're talking to and you're getting out and you're doing things and you're bettering the community and giving back. So
Yeah, so it's so true. I always say that a lot of my leadership skills that I've learned and I use in my job every single day. I work in a hospital. I'm a director. I'm in a hospital. I use all of those leadership skills that I learned from being in the fire department, trying to
yeah.
show, trying to be, especially when you take leadership roles in the fire department, you got to tell people what to do and you're not paying them. So you got to figure out another way to go about this, right? You can't just,
Right.
oh, just do this, I'm going to suspend you, or do this, you're going to get fired. Fire me from what? You're going to take my pay away from me? What are you going to do? So you got to figure out different ways to do things. So for the people that are listening that are thinking about coming in the fire department or just in, those are the kind of those transferable skills that you learn from being in the fire department. That leadership, that, like you said, people skills. When you learn how to talk to someone, like you said, you're walking into someone's house in a bad situation, especially as EMS EMT, walking into someone's house, and you got to have those people skills to make them comfortable. So
Right.
yeah.
But
Um,
not even that kind of things. Like, you'll the other people in your fire department, like, this guy is a police officer and then this guy does, tech or whatever. And, you could actually sit there and talk to these people and figure out the course of your life. Like, hey, I think I might like this career. Like, how'd you get into it? And, there's such a network of people that you could figure out like where you could go into a career, figure out your life essentially.
That's right. So true, because everybody is doing something and you can learn from that. Or
Right.
you may be able to say, like in my fire department, I work in a hospital. If I know this position's open, hey, you know what? You're looking for a position, come over here to this hospital. So those are the kind of things that the not just camaraderie, but the connections that you make within the fire department.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So if there was someone listening right now, we kind of just alluded to it, but if there was someone listening right now that just got in the fire department or is thinking about joining, what type of advice would you want to give them?
Oh, absolutely join and do everything you can. Drive the trucks, get your EMT license, even go for your paramedic, anything, do everything that you can. Spend your time there, go to drills, bump up your resume with certifications, take national courses, you know, all of that. It's such a good idea. So, and
Christina
it's
said it.
rewarding. It's so much fun. You like I said before, you build a family. I have my friends in New York. I'm gonna talk to them for the rest of my life. So, I still talk to them now.
Mhm.
So
So I got to ask the question. You ever thought about moving back, or the sunshine is too much for you?
no.
You're never coming back to New York. That's it.
No, I'm acclimated. To 80 degrees.
That's it.
I think I'd
Come
wither
back to
away in
visit?
like
Will you
20
come back to
degrees.
visit, Elise? Will you do
Oh,
that?
absolutely.
Your family's still here, so you'll come visit? Mhm.
Yeah, I have my friends too. I'm thinking about coming back up soon.
Okay. All right, but never moving back. That's it.
No.
Florida is where it is.
Yeah.
Florida is where it is. No, that's cool. All right. So, one more question for you.
Yeah.
If there was someone that you think should be on this show, who would it be? Shout them out right now.
Well, that's a tough one.
You've been in a lot of departments. That is a tough one.
I would say Bez. The
Bez?
chief of Westbury. He's second assistant chief.
All right. What was his name?
Bez Nick.
There we go. You heard your name. Let's go. We want you down at the firehouse. Christina let you know. So we're gonna be looking out and trying to find him. You said, well, what's the rank?
He's second assistant chief right now.
Second assistant chief. All right. So that's great. The baby chief. Get the baby chief down here. All right. Listen, Christina, thank you so much. Is there anything that I'm forgetting that you want to bring up?
I saw you ask a question to somebody else about being a female in the fire department.
Yeah, talk. So
if you want to get into
that,
that,
talked about that a little bit. We kind of mentioned that, but how is that? Yeah, let's get into that.
I will say initially, like when I first joined, there were old timers that did not believe women should be in the fire department. And, I pushed through that. I had to prove myself, not to, deter anybody from joining, because I feel like it's much different nowadays. But, after pushing myself, the same guy that made that comment when I was lieutenant for Hose 1 came up to me and he goes, "You have a spot here." And it was just like that full circle that was like, wow, like I've made it.
So when
It's
not to cut you off, but when you first started, is that when you kind of got that kind of pushback from everybody? When you first started, they just didn't think you were going to make it?
Oh, there was a bunch of guys that, they were like, "Oh, women can't do the job of men." It was very back in the day kind of mentality. Whereas, nowadays, and I even notice in law enforcement, like women have a place. They have a big place. And, we could do the same thing as men, which, some of the guys in Westbury and my friends, they'd be like, "You do a better job than half the guys." So it's all different. I mean, if you push yourself and you do your training and prove yourself, you got a spot anywhere.
That's so true. Have you ever experienced any of that on a call? Like on a call with either your own members or other members from other departments where it's like, I'm with a girl, she's not going to be able to do what I'm going to do. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, so I drove 962, the 52-foot tower ladder, to a Syosset Mutual Aid. It was the Nassau County Police Precinct that was on fire. And I walk up with one of my older guys, and we go up to somebody, one of the chiefs or whoever, and we go, "Okay, where do you want this thing?" And he turns to the guy I'm with, and he goes, "Oh, you could just back it up over here or whatever." And he turns to the guy, and he goes, "No, she drove." And he looked at me like, "Oh."
Oh, okay.
I backed it right in, no problem.
With no problem, did it, right? I bet you he won't question it.
No, I did get that a lot driving. I'm not gonna lie. People are, "Oh, he drove that," or whatever the case. I drove.
I drove.
I can drive.
I can do it. I got it. I don't need no help.
Yeah.
I got it. I love that. All right, what else am I forgetting? I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. First of all,
I think we hit everything.
Before we even go into that, what's the temperature out there in Florida right now? Because it's cold here in New York. Let me tell you.
It's 72.
Cold. 72 degrees. 72 degrees at 8 o'clock at night. Right now, it's like 32 or 30 degrees outside right now. It is freezing cold right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, am I forgetting?
And that's why I'm not coming back. I think we're
That's
good.
exactly why he's not coming back. But am I forgetting anything? Want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
I think we're good. I think we hit everything. Yeah.
All right, cool. Listen, Christina, thank you so much for, I guess, still coming down to the Firehouse. How about you came on to the Firehouse?
Virtually.
You came down, but you came on to the Firehouse. Thank you so much for just telling us about your stories and everything that you've dealt with. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. So listen, again, how do I say your last name? I want to say Ovale. Am I saying it right?
It's Ovale.
Ovale. So I said it right. Perfect. So
yeah, you said it right.
I said it right. Okay, so we just heard from Christina Ovale from the Westbury Fire Department, from the Jericho Fire Department, from the Roslyn Fire Department, you name it, she's been in them all, about her life as a firefighter. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I am your host, Chris Moses, and please tune in next week to another great conversation